Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello students, this is the fourth lecture in linguistics. In this lecture we're going to talk about a new chapter, a new topic, an introduction to the definition or definitions of language. What is language? It seems simple to define a language, and definitely anyone of you will define it as a means of communication. Well, actually, it is not that simple. It needs so many experiments and so many justifications to say that it is a means of communication. Now, since in chapter 1 we talked about the general outlines of the course that you're going to study, the textbook, what is linguistics, okay, then it is a necessary point to talk about language, which is the core material of linguistics, or which is the central point of dealing or studying linguistics. Now, what is language and how language is evolved is the topic of this part of chapter 2. Now, the main points of this lecture are: can language be defined? How can it be distinguished from other systems of animal communication? And certain design features to consider whether they are shared by other animals. Okay, so how can we define language? Is there any definition that is received by all regarding language, and how language is distinguished from other systems of communication? Let's say the language that we have, that we use, that we utilize in different situations. How can we distinguish this language from other systems of communication? And what makes our language, I mean the human language, unique? What are the characteristics, what are the features that design such a very, very sophisticated and complicated system? Let's see in the slides to come. First and foremost, to define language, we have to distinguish it from other creatures that do not use this code, do not use language. Okay? How can we define such a code or such language? We can only define it through the use of the language properties or the design features, the features that make this language. Okay, so the first point that makes our language unique is the use of sound signals. The use of sound signals. When animals communicate with one another, they may do so by a variety of means. And here, carbs and bees are mentioned. What does this indicate? Well, the use of sound signals is acquired by almost all the creatures, or at least many prototypes of creatures, not only human. Carbs, bees, cows, dolphins, and so many other creatures, in addition to a human being. However, okay, the point is not here. The point is that different methods of using sound signals, okay, have different or uniquely employed by these varieties of creatures. Now, if we talk about the bees, there are about 60 to 65 dances, okay, indicating the whereabouts of the nectar. If we talk about the dolphins, if we talk about the cows, if we talk about the carps, the grasshoppers, birds, and so on and so forth, each one of these has its own set of sound signals which are used for certain functions. However, human beings can use these sound signals in a very wide variety. Human beings can use it in the dark, at certain distance, okay, in different situations, to talk about past and the future and the present time. So human being can use very complicated sound signals to indicate certain needs. Okay, so this is the first point, that a human being uses the sound signals in a unique way, which is quite different from the animal communication. The second point is that the arbitrariness. Arbitrariness is defined the link between the message and the sound signal. The message and the sound signal. Okay, so how this property is manifested in animal communication and in human language. Of course, in human language there is no signal, there is no link. There is no link between the sound signal, or the form, so to speak, or the form, and the content. Okay. Now, if we talk about the dog, there is no any indication between the word dog, or the utterance that we pronounce, the dog, and the form and the entity of this creature. Or the cat, there is no link between the form of the cat and the name of the cat. Or the human being, if we say Ali, Ahmed, Muhammad, Hussein, Jack, John, okay, there is no connection between the name and the name holder. Okay, this is in human language. However, if we talk about the cat, now when the cat is angry, or is in a defending position, now the cat will curve its back and will make certain moves, indicating that I am in defending position, or at least in attacking position. So here is the link. Why? Because there is a lack in using certain sound signals, so to speak, or in using language. This is not arbitrary. This is not arbitrary. So a human being uses the arbitrary link between the sound signal and the content, or the message. Okay, while animal communication is not. I should say a human being. The link between the form and the message for a human being is arbitrary, while for animal communication is not arbitrary. There must be a link between the form and the message. The third point is the need for learning. the need for learning. Animal communication, animal communication, or most of the animal system of communication is genetically inbuilt. What does this sentence mean? Genetically inbuilt, which means it is in genes. In other words, animals do not need to learn these limited sound, such limited sound signals. Okay, they do not need to learn them. We can see the cat is mowing. We can see the dog or the puppy is barking. We can see the cow is making its own sound signals, okay, without any need to learn. Okay? This is the animal communication, while the human being is in dire form, is in dire need for learning, to learn language, to acquire at the first years, to acquire language, and at the preschool or at the school stages, the human being is in dire need to learn language, and this is not found in animal communication. So human being, yes, there are certain parameters which are genetically inbuilt in human being, but they are not, or they do not give the full language or the full sound signals or the full system of language to the human being unless this creature learns language. So that's why humans, when isolating humans, you will they will have no language, or at least very primitive language, just like the children. Okay, and there are so many experiments done in this regard, and especially the movie of Tarzan, or these sequel of movies. Okay, the fourth one, which is duality. Duality, simply speaking, duality means combining two or more layers, two or more layers into a complex or complicated structures to use or to give meaningful chunks of language. This property is found in the human language, but it is not found in the animal communication. We can see that most of the animals, okay, use their sound signals to once at a time, okay, or twice, three times. However, they are not combined. They are not combined, and we find it so awkward when certain animals try to combine certain sound signals, okay, such as what the cat and the dog do. While in human language, it is so normal to combine phonemes into phonemes and morphemes into graphemes, and then these graphemes into words, and words into sentences, to give meaningful chunks of language. And this is again a unique property to human language. These are the first four properties of language. We cannot define language yet unless we continue with the three others properties, which are going to be discussed in the lectures to come, the next lecture, inshallah. So that's all for this lecture. Next time we'll continue with these properties in order to define language and to give the differences between human language and animal communication. And then we're going to talk about the origins of language, as well as the final definition that is proposed by the writer Jane Aitchison to language, and see whether this definition is adequate to define language or not. That's all for me. Thank you very much.